What I'll start off by saying is that the Razer Seiren Mini is the king of budget USB microphone. This thing packs a punch for something that you can grab that's under $50. I've seen a lot of USB microphone reviews on YouTube, and after seeing how amazing the Razer Seiren Mini, I had to get my hands on one. I was like, I gotta see how good it is myself. And in my previous video, I actually pitched it up against my HyperX Quadcast. And it surprised me to say that this little bad boy right here, out of the box, destroys my HyperX Quadcast. Straight up out of the box, default, plug and play, record. This thing annihilated it. I felt bad. I was like, did I really just waste so much money on a USB microphone? The small pup gnawed a hole in the sock. The fish twisted and turned. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Pressed the pants and sew a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. When I could have saved at least $100. Well, I mean, to start off, this thing comes at $49.99. Whereas the HyperX comes in at $139 US. And to think that this thing put my poor HyperX to shame, that hit me right in the feels. I was like, why didn't I just wait? So if you're in the market to look for a budget USB microphone, I can only suggest the Razer Seiren Mini at the moment. Firstly, this thing is tiny and so cute, and it can pretty much fit any aesthetic actually. I mean, also matte black. I feel like matte black, anything that's matte black, I'm instantly in love with. I mean, like, my whole house is gonna be matte black. My kitchen's gonna be matte black. My swimming pool's gonna be matte black. I'm just gonna make everything matte black, my car even. Now the Razer Seiren Mini will come in different variants. You can get from matte black to pastel pink to a nice white. So there's definitely all variations to suit whatever studio aesthetic you're going with. But now, aesthetic aside, this thing is a beast when it comes to just straight up recording. It is a super cardioid, which means it's only got the cardioid setting. Now that's perfect, because one of my downsides that I mentioned in the previous video is that it lacks options. But does it really lack options? Because I feel like in this case, less is more. For instance, my HyperX, I've only ever set it to cardioid from day one. It's never changed ever since then. So having all those features, I think the only feature that is its real downside is that there's no volume control or mute button on this. But now, to counter that downside, you have a very convenient USB microphone that all you need to do is set up in literally a minute. It took me a minute. I think the longest part of the setup was actually figuring out how to open up the box. I'm not even going to joke about that. I think I straight up spent 10 minutes like, how do I open this? Why am I so dumb? Once I opened it, it was just so easy to put together, plug in the cables, put it into my PC. PC instantly installed the software for it. Open up my Streamlabs OBS, set it to audio input, and bam, it sounded as good as my HyperX. Now, if you want to see a more in-depth comparison between the two microphones, I highly suggest that you actually check out my previous video where I compared them both with and without filters. So now, who would I suggest this USB microphone to? I would suggest it to any beginner who's starting out on Twitch or even YouTube, maybe even a faceless channel on YouTube. You can still get this USB microphone to sound like a studio microphone just by adding in a few simple filters and tweaking them until your voice sounds as amazing as you want it to be. And the reason being that I would suggest this even over my HyperX is, firstly, you're going to be saving pretty much $100 that you can invest in other areas that are equally important. For example, your lighting, because your audio is important, but then your lighting is equally important, because then whatever you're filming on, if you have the right lights, it's going to look amazing. You're going to look so slick, and then you'll be sounding slick as well. Whereas what a lot of people do is, in the beginning, they invest all of their money into sounding amazing, and that's all great, but then it looks like, oh my gosh, where did you even film that? What did you film that with? Instead of just investing in lights as well and getting that right. The second person I would suggest it to is anyone who's just looking for the most convenient way to sound better while gaming or while streaming, because all I had to do was put it together, plug it in and play, and I sounded amazing. And the third person that I would recommend this to is anyone and everyone actually who's under a tight budget at the moment, because you're going to get all the features you need out of it while still saving a lot of money to invest in other areas of your life and of your trade. Now, aside from audio being the most important part of your stream or your YouTube video, the second most important part is going to be your lighting. Now, thankfully, I have a whole tutorial on a lighting setup available right here on this channel. So if you would like to check that out, I'll see you guys in that video. Make sure to leave a thumbs up on this if it added any value to you, if it helped you make an informative decision and saved you some bucks actually. So yeah, maybe consider subscribing.